Hello, Pivot Shift Ahead. It's James. We're doing another one of our agent conversations. I'm really excited today to be able to talk to somebody who, well, she's accomplishing a lot while dealing with a lot. So, Aubrey Martin in Portland, Oregon, thanks so much for being on. I'm happy to have you today.
Thrilled to be asked, James. Thank you so much.
Well, you got it. And we're going to talk about your business and everything you've done in just a minute. And I know, though, people are watching, they're concerned about you and basically everything up and down the West Coast. It's just a mess up there and over there right now. How are you doing? How's your family doing? How's your community doing?
Thanks for asking. We're doing just fine. We're in a bubble right now where there's a lot of smoke and sort of fires on all sides. I would just ask for those folks out there who pray to give us a little prayer of protection for our communities and our families right now. For not just, of course, Oregon, but also Washington and California as well. But we're doing fine, and also feel really fortunate to be aligned with Keller Williams, where we are really sort of mobilizing right now to help our communities out there as well, which I am part of. So we are doing fine, and we're just plugging along.
Well, stay safe. And I know KW Cares is doing a lot to support everybody. So, if anybody wants to contribute, kwcares.org is where you can go. You don't have to designate, if you're going to donate, you don't have to designate it for the fires. You can just give. And I know that KW Cares and Keller Williams have been really involved. So stay safe, Aubrey. And thanks so much for sharing that. Now, and of course, you got the fires on top of everything else that's gone on in Portland for the last 120 days or whatever it is. So
yeah.
I do appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be able to come and add value to our agents because, okay, on top of this, you've got your state and your city is literally on fire. On top of this, 2020 has not just brought a ton of joy and wonderful things to your family. It's been a really challenging year.
Yeah.
And you're almost succeeding in spite of it. Tell everyone a little bit though about what you and your family have personally experienced here over the last 6 months.
Yeah. So, we came into COVID on the heels of a great family vacation. We actually went to Disneyland, and my kids had never been before. And the day that we got back, they actually shut Disneyland down, and that was sort of the end of the fun for a while. About 3 months after that, my husband did lose his job from COVID. He's a computer programmer and has been for a long time. So we really just had to sort of reevaluate. We have 3 young children at home, and we were also in the process of buying and selling our own homes as well. In fact, he lost his job the day that we accepted an offer on our new house. So at any rate, we just sort of had to pivot, as you would say, and figure out how to keep moving forward, because we just didn't have a choice. And also, I'm from New York City originally, and I'm pretty feisty, so I won't be told no.
So you're going to get after it. And yet here you are, it's September. Yeah. And I just, for perspective, I want people to think about what your family is experiencing. You have, 2 elementary age kids and a middle schooler.
Correct. Yeah.
And who are homeschooled. Schools are not open in Oregon, so your kids are at home. Your husband is out of work, and your community is burning. And in spite of all of that, you're selling houses and helping people. And in fact, isn't this going to be a record year for you?
It is. I've just been licensed almost just a little bit over 3 years, and on track right now to do 70 houses this year. Have sold, actually I had a closing yesterday, so 39 since COVID began. So yeah, and the way that we've done that is really, number one is I decided, rather than to fight it, is my husband actually joined my team. And he has been doing my photography, for my listings and Matterport and marketing and all the things that I'm not necessarily great at. And so rather than figuring out kind of that piece of it, we just decided to kind of bring him in. And once we did that, we actually realized we could do that with the kids too. So they help with my buyer binders, they help with staging, they help with anything that mama needs. And what's great is that there's no child labor laws in Oregon, so the kids have to help me whether they want to or not. And since we really decided to really just dig in and really make it a family business, it's actually been a huge blessing for us, because now I'm incorporating my children in everything that I'm doing. And when I do showings, they travel along with me after school or on weekends or what have you. And so we'll go do a showing, and then I'll go take them for a hike or what have you afterwards. So we just found a way to make it work. And to be honest with you, it's a happier balance than I ever had before COVID to begin with.
That's amazing. And I love that you say you found a way. You found a way. And it would be so easy and nobody would blame you if you guys wanted to curl up in a ball and wait things out. And there are people that are doing that, and yet you're going after it. You've got the kids helping, you've got your husband helping, and you're making it happen. And you're going to hit 70 units in a time like this, was just absolutely wild to me. And what is so cool is how you've done it. And when you and I talked the other day to prepare for today, you took this little exercise that we had done in Bold for 10 years, that as a Bold coach, I taught for 6 years. You've got Cody Gibson right in your backyard. He taught this to you for years. And it was the one exercise that nobody liked to do. And you've done it, and it's leading to 70 units in this year. So tell us a little bit about that phone book index card exercise and how it's helped you.
So my first Bold, I've taken Bold now twice and then Pivot once. And the first one I took was with Denny Grimes in Florida. And he did this exercise with us. And there was a light bulb moment that really happened during that Bold for me. And it was that I belong to a lot of networking groups. Real estate agents are connectors of people. And what I decided to do from that exercise is all of those people, the contractors, the cleaners, all the professionals, my business to business people, I started to invite them in for coffee, and not to talk about my business, but to talk about theirs. How can I support them? How can I refer them? Who are the best clients for them? In addition to that, I also started joining all the networking and social media groups that I felt like I would be interested in or would apply to me. So moms groups and BNI, I actually ended up creating my own business networking group and getting all of those folks in for coffee. And that started this sort of revolution in my business. And it became something called the Welcome Home Book. And for those of you who are familiar with like Angie's List, this is like Aubrey's List. And it's a binder that I get sent to me by my escrow title salesperson. So I don't actually have any cost for this. And in the binder, it has a few things. Number one is it has all of the things we would get from escrow and title for a new buyer. So those mailing labels and the moving stickers and stuff about how to change over utilities and all of that stuff. And then I combined it with these 4 sections of the Welcome Home Book. One is the residential services, which is where you're going to find those contractors, the window washers, and all those folks. The next one was professional services. So that would be like your accountants, your attorneys, et cetera. Health and wellness. So, salons and doctors and naturopaths, all of that. And then food and drink. And, if you look at that A to Z list, all of those people kind of fit into one of those categories. And what we did with that is that every time I have a closing, I'm tagging everybody on Facebook of who had something to do with that. So cleaning by Leanne Tristan, window washing by KJM Window Cleaning, construction by Trisha at PDX Aero. And by the way, most of the people that I am in networking with are women. So I'm promoting women-owned businesses because that's sort of my passion. And when we do a listing, for example, we have little look signs that also are going to showcase their talent at the house that I'm actually listing as well. And so that's really where all of this started. And a lot of my business is that A to Z list of business to business.
It's genius. And here's what happens, right? So Leanne Tristan, who is doing your cleaning services, she's going to know if somebody wants to sell, right? If one of her clients is going to, hey, we need to, we're going to do a deep clean because we're thinking about selling. And she's going to go, well, you need to call Aubrey. I mean, I imagine because you are providing value, you're providing referrals. Well, they're all turning around and doing the same thing for you, right?
Correct. So, my general contractor is really the person I am connecting with the most, because I have her do not just listing preparation, but anything that my buyers need to have done, my past clients want to have done. I'm referring her all the time. And she's actually referred me out to 8 different listings. So, and then you got to figure from there, from those listings, and they have friends as well once I've done a good job for them. So, and this really just started with like a half an hour conversation over coffee that had everything to do with their business. One of the brilliant things about social media is it's all cross promotional. So if I'm tagging her and she's tagging me back, people start to really see my name a lot. And that's really where a lot of this comes in as well, that it's not just about my own posts, but that people are sharing this in various places. And then I'm getting people referred to me who I've never actually touched before because they're referrals from people that know me and have done business with me. So
that's really, really smart. You're doing a great job. I mean, it's such a simple exercise, and you've just been able to amplify that. And what we used to teach was you go through the yellow pages and you just go category by category in the yellow pages and ask, do I know somebody in this category? And if you do, you confirm that they're in your database. And if you don't, then you reach out and connect with someone. And that's what you did. And one of the scripts we taught was exactly that. Hey, I want to learn about your business script. I want to know how I can best help you. We've taught that in Bold. So walk us through your coffee. If you're going to go schedule a coffee with somebody and sit down with them and really learn about their business, what are some questions you ask? How do you show that you really want to add value to them?
So I want to know the things that they specialize in, the areas that they service, who their ideal client is.
And let me ask you a question about that real quick, and pardon my interruption. That's a really key one, I think, is who's the ideal client I can refer to you? Is that one of the key questions?
It is, because some folks are going to focus more on residential painting. Some contractors are going to say, well, we really like to do bathroom remodels, and they really specialize more. I have a contractor who specializes in windows. So yes, I think their ideal client and their specialization is important. And also because frankly, not everybody, I sell all over the state. I go where the business is. Not everybody wants to travel out to the coast or to Central Oregon or what have you. So finding out really who their ideal client is, and it also just sort of gets those wheels turning for me too, so that when I talk to someone, it's an aha. The idea is that I know their business as well as they do, so I could really advertise for them.
Well, it's super smart. And what have you learned from them? As you've done this, as you've really engaged in business-to-business relationships, what have you learned that's impacted your business that everybody else needs to know?
So I think that it's really being authentically coming from a place of service, and I don't meet with these people because it's going to promote my business. It's to really just enhance my business and to become that resource for everybody. Because that's what real estate agents are, really, right? We're like this resource, we're the connector of people. I want to be known as that connector of people that if you need something, whether it's that you need your chimney cleaned, or if you need help escaping, right, a deadly disaster, either which way, I'm the resource. And I think that's what I've really discovered throughout all of this is the more I learned about other people's businesses, the more I really committed to them, the bigger my business got. And because it comes from a place of real transparency and really coming from that place of service.
It's a relationship business, always has been, always will be, and you're building those relationships. And as I'm sitting here and thinking about the disaster that your home state is experiencing right now, you actually have set yourself up to be a leader in your community, not only right now, on the other side of this as well. Because there are people who are going to need things done. There are people who are going to need repairs made, who are going to need stuff, and they're going to need your support, and you're the connector of those people. There's an opportunity here for you to really be of service to your community because of this.
And that's what I'm focusing on right now. This last week, I've not focused on the new business, and I haven't been focusing on those types of calls. I've been really focused on my past clients, my present clients, but also just to community as well. And I'm participating in a lot of different community mobility actions right now in the area. So the idea is that, during COVID, the script is different, right? Like during times of tragedy, the script is different, but the care calls, this is when I was all day messaging and calling people to find out, is there anything that they need? And it's not empty words. I actually have an entire list of places that are empty, places they can bring their horses. I've got all of that stuff because I did my homework before I called. But yes, people are going to remember the people that reached out to them. And I actually have been told that by a few newer clients that have said that, especially when the things with COVID were happening, that they remembered just my service to the community and they wanted to work with someone like me. So, that's talk about a win-win, right? I mean, that's such a Keller Williams thing, but it really is true, is that I do these things because, human life is more important to me than real estate, right? So, but as it turns out, a lot of people kind of relate to that, and it just comes back one way or another. So I've been very lucky in that way.
Well, you've just been very helpful and supportive of your community, which is great. So you've been making care calls throughout this time period, throughout the last week or so, as you guys have experienced these fires, and pointing people to where they can get supplies or where they can go for shelter as they evacuate different communities. It seems like every hour there's a new evacuation order. Have you had anybody bring up real estate in those calls as you're reaching out and talking to them? Are they asking you any questions about that?
I would say just peripherally. And just, one of the things like I did yesterday was I did a newsletter out to my database that, by the way, is all in command. And I did an interview with an insurance rep that I know, talking about, how is wildfire coverage different than fire coverage, and what should you do for emergency preparedness? And I have gotten a couple of emails about people that are looking to buy houses, but what they wanted to talk about is like, how do I know that I'm going to be protected when we buy our new house? So, I'm not focusing on that piece of it right now, but I know that once all this stuff sort of dies down a little bit, it'll be, somewhat business as usual. But and we talked about this the other day, is that, my legs of lead generation have always been very relationship based. Mm-hmm. So I'm not someone, I did watch your interview with the young lady who like just kills it with FSBOs, which is amazing. It's not, I don't do FSBOs or expireds, or I'm not doing the cold calling or the dialers. It's not my personality. And I'm not particularly good at it. And so I focus on the things that I'm good at, and what I'm good at are really kind of developing those relationships. And now more than ever, with 2020 being what it is, the relationship piece of it is really crucial. It is.
It is. Yeah. I think that's the beauty of these conversations that we're doing right now on Pivot Shift Ahead, is it shows you that there is no right or wrong way. You're going to make business decisions that work for you. It needs to be authentic for you. It needs to be who you are, and it's working for you. The thing too that I appreciate about what you're doing is you are making the care calls, and you're following the model that we've given on Pivot Shift Ahead since March, which is care and compassion, right? You reach out and you check in with care and compassion. Common sense tells you whether or not you're going to talk about real estate. In your case, you had two people that brought it up. So you're going to answer their questions. You're going to talk to them about it. You're going to get them in the path. And the others, you're not going to go, hey, by the way, the market's like, that doesn't make any sense when you're checking in on somebody to make sure they're safe.
And I think the other piece of that too, I actually do have a showing today at 4. So there are some people that do care about it, but we had a class that was scheduled. I do a home buyers class every month on a Saturday. And we decided, we actually had quite a few signups, and we usually do, but we decided it didn't feel right at this point to be talking about just the market and all of that right now. So we have postponed that. But I think it's really important when you make those care calls to really, it's a script in that you don't have to necessarily think about what you're saying, but it has to be authentic and real and genuine, and coming from that place of really, how can I be of service? The other thing that we've been doing too, in addition to finding out if people need help or if their family needs help or what have you, is there's people on the other side who are like, we want to help. How can we help? And so our market center has opened itself up to donations that they're going to be bringing to Southern Oregon later in the day. And so it's really great to have conversations also with people who are not suffering, but are looking to alleviate that. Gosh, especially on a day like today, right? Where this is where you really see the best in people during the worst of times. And, the anniversary of this date is especially true. And we're definitely seeing it here too. And I think that people we're all in the same boat. They need to know that I'm a real person. I'm a mom. I'm in their community. And the real estate piece of it is, I think, why they think of me, because they know that I'm that connector. But in the end, I'm just like them, and I'm just trying to help. So
Aubrey, it's fantastic. I want to wrap with this. It's a section out of Shift. It's on page 274. And Gary says in here, the good, the bad, the hard, and the easy all work together to shape the person you become. Don't wish your life away. Embrace every moment. All right. So this year, like we said in the beginning, you've experienced your husband losing his job. Your kids, all three of them, are homeschooling right now, and your community is on fire. And yet I'm telling you to embrace every moment. Don't wish your life away. It feels like you've done that here. What would your advice be to people who are experiencing challenging times, how they can embrace it and move forward in the right direction?
There's always someone who's suffering a lot more than you. So be the light, be the positivity. This is what we need more now than ever is people need something to hang on to. And, you know, it's a blessing. A lot of people that I've encountered in Bold know that we lost a child as an infant about 11 years ago, and he was our first baby. And since then, I really decided that I was really going to try to enjoy and appreciate life because honestly, there are people that are really struggling out there. And rather than hide, I mean, hide if you need to for a little bit, like no one thinks that you have to be on top of it all the time. Do what you got to do, but then get out there and make a difference because in the end, we have to be the light. I'm ALC culture chair with Jesse Dill, and I'm a huge believer in culture and what it means. And I think what it means is to be a leader and to be the beacon and just get out there and do it.
You are a blessing. You are a blessing to the KW family. You're a blessing to your local community. I am honored to have spoken to you and to learn from you today. I trust our people are as well. Aubrey, stay safe in Portland. All the best to you. And thank you so much for taking time out to join us today to share this. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Thank you, James. It was a pleasure.